welcome to this video, which is focusing today on the return of serve, and in particular looking at the position of the returner on the court. Again, this has come from a question. One player's asked me, so where do I stand on court? Not how do I stand, but where do I stand on court? So slightly different question. We're not going to go into how we stand on court in this video, but we're just going to analyse a few ideas for you in terms of where we should stand in relation to the whole court. Now let's just draw in our server here. So the receiver is going to be on this side. Invariably, when we do our courses at Lillishall, we spend a lot of time analysing the return of serve. And in particular, what we do is we take the server's eye view, which is usually me stood there, and I explain how to analyse this player and how they stood. But the first element is where they stood, which is what I call spatial awareness. So if I have a player, for instance, who likes to stand, we'll call that the back foot and that's the front foot, over here, and they're protecting that centre line, it's very easy for them to take a shuttle here, and obviously they're more protective of this, but they're leaving huge gaps on the other side of the court and over here. Now again, we're not talking about how they stand, where the feet are, where the hands are, whether the legs are bent, whether they're straight, but just where they stood. We have other players that are taking a stance a little bit over here, and as you can imagine, that really is opening up this centre line so much more for a flick. So I've got a couple of golden rules that I use, and they're guidelines more than anything else. And here's my first guideline. Now this is for right-handed players. We have to imagine that we take a line. So we'll try and draw it in relatively straight as I can, bearing in mind it's at an angle, from the server all the way to the back corner. So my golden rule is, for a right-hander, I should be possibly one step off this line, so that if I'm on this side, I have the benefit of being right-handed. I've got my arm length and a racket at the end of it, which covers a huge amount of distance this side. So I would be looking to stand round about here. Back foot, front foot. And you notice I put the front foot this way. And there's a good reason for that. So just breaking aside from here. This front foot pointing at the server lines up your left knee, allows you to push forward directly towards where the serve is being struck from. If I see the front foot that way, then the body is already telling me that where the leg wants to go is in this direction. So it's going in completely the wrong direction. So an adjustment has to be made. If you're making an adjustment, as you appreciate, that takes time. And any time you lose when serve is struck from here to around here is valuable time for you. So just something to bear in mind. Okay, so let's go back to what we're doing. So I place the server on this side, return a serve on this side. So they're on the left hand side of this imaginary line. Now they have pretty good cover of that and pretty good cover of this. And if you know how to move, then you can get to that. And it's only a very little movement you need to make that will realign your hips and allow you to move directly in that direction. But again, that's for another video. Now then, let's just move the serve to the other side. This becomes a bit of a tricky one. So take the same principle and draw our line into that corner. I know it's not perfect. This time I'm looking to be around about, if I'd drawn that straight, I probably would have been there. That's better. So just make that a little bit darker. You can see it. That will join it up, just so it works better. This time, the server needs to be return of serve needs to be stood either on the line or just on this side. So again, left foot facing where the shuttle will be struck from. Back foot needs to be back here that aligns the hips better to move deep into that corner. That's not the difficult one. For right-handers, this is the difficult reply. Picking that shot up there. If I'm on this line, I'm going directly backwards, I can take that shot. So what about shuttles happening at the front? Well, if somebody wants to serve into here, let's just draw in a little bit of a line, then I'm going to intercept somewhere in this path, looking forwards. I don't want to turn and go in that direction. I look forwards and take it. So that's not really a problem. This one isn't neither, because I've got my right arm and I've got my racket, so I've got that covered. I might just move a touch more, but there's very little in it, as you can see. Just so I'm a little bit more equal distance. But the important thing, I have got that covered. And I've probably drawn the line right. That's probably where I should have been anyway. So as you can see, golden rule is generally just standing to either on the line or just to the right of that line, very, very slightly, should give me enough coverage to take that back corner. It means I can take that easy, and I've got these covered as well. So that's the end of this video. It's just a very quick one about your alignment and whereabouts to stand for spatial awareness on a badminton court. See you on another video.